Now that I've heard that Jorge Masvidal has actually pulled out against Leon Edwards, I can't help but think that Leon Edwards might be the most unluckiest fighter in the UFC. I mean, this is a guy who's a genuine world-class elite talent, yet fighters keep pulling out against him. I mean, just to put it into perspective, I mean, we saw what happened, right, when let's just look through the timeline, right? He couldn't get a clear victory against Bilal Muhammad because of the eye poke, right? So that fight got cancelled. I think it was a disqualification, if I'm not mistaken, right? Then after that, right, obviously he had that incident with Jorge Masvidal after the Darren Till fight. He came off second best in that because Jorge Masvidal obviously sucker punched him and put a gash on his face. Then after that, right, he had that incident, and then after that, when he got in there against Nate Diaz, right, Nate Diaz got all the credit for that fight, even though he lost. Leon Edwards outboxed him for the whole fight, and then the last 30 seconds, Nate Diaz lands a right hand, wobbles him, and then he gets all the credit for the fight. And now, yeah, he's on a 9-fight win streak, and he's not even getting a title shot. And you've got Khamzat Chimaev, who was going to fight him, who pulled out of a fight with him because of COVID. And because of that COVID situation, he's come back, he's given an impressive performance. If he fights Gilbert Burns and beats him, he's probably going to leapfrog Leon Edwards and fight for the title. I mean, you can't make this up. This has happened to one fighter. Eye pokes, getting punched up in press conferences, that's just not good for your image. Fighters pulling out because of injuries. I mean, not getting credit for a win that you had over a legend in Nate Diaz because Nate Diaz landed the last right hand and wobbled you. I mean, all of these incidents, it just makes it seem like Leon Edwards is coming off as second best. Now, don't get it twisted, he does have some good victories in his career. He has beaten, obviously, Nate Diaz. He has beaten RDA, right? And he's beaten Donald Cerrone. So he does have a few good wins on his resume, and he is legit seen as an elite welterweight, and has obviously been in there against Kamaru Usman as well. But if you take everything into account, I mean, he's one of the most overlooked, underrated and unlucky fighters in the UFC. I mean, this guy should be fighting for the title next, but he's just not getting it, and it's just I think it's a bit tragic. And this guy's been through a lot in his life as well. I mean, his dad was a gang member who got shot in the head. He grew up around drugs and crime, and regardless of all of that, he managed to overcome it, went into the UFC. I mean, he's had an incredible career up to this point. Obviously, he does have a few losses, but it's against high-level opposition. And despite everything he's gone through, he's never actually managed to put himself in a position to get the recognition he deserves. But yeah, I think he's probably one of the most unlucky fighters in the UFC. Definitely one of the most underrated. But tell me what you think about Leon Edwards. Do you think he deserves what he gets? Don't get it twisted. There's a lot of times when he doesn't help himself. But a lot of times I think it's mainly him. It's mainly him being unlucky as well. So yeah, just from that perspective, I just think he does have a lot of problems and issues. I just hope he can get his career together, because I think he's a brilliant fighter, and I think he's very underrated. A fight against Jorge Masvidal would have been great for him. He would have been able to solidify himself within the welterweight division. A win against Masvidal, who just came off a two title attempts back to back against Usman. If he would have got a win against Masvidal, I think he would have been in a title contention. Have you noticed also, Jorge Masvidal became a superstar after he beat Nate Diaz? Leon Edwards didn't become a superstar after he beat Nate Diaz. If anything, Nate Diaz became the superstar of that fight just because of the right hand he landed. So Leon Edwards literally got no credit for that fight, even though he literally was in a position where he was the one that outboxed him and decisively beat Nate Diaz very decisively in that fight. So yeah, tell me your thoughts about this. Why is it that Leon Edwards doesn't get enough credit? What's the reason for this? I mean, he's an elite talent. He's beaten good names. I mean, he's within the top 5 rankings within the welterweight division, top 3 you can argue. Yet he still doesn't get a look in. What's the reason for that? Do you think it's because of the UFC, they don't push him hard enough? Maybe it's to do with his personality, he's not charismatic enough, or maybe he just doesn't fight that often. What's the reason that you think that Leon Edwards is just not getting the shine that he deserves? What's the reason for that? Tell me below, and like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.